Hello and welcome back to my craft room. I've been waiting a couple of days for my second bead box to arrive because I have two, the kit box and the bead box, and they're brilliant value. They're only £5 each, including postage to the UK, so I feel like you can't go wrong really. I've been dying to see what's inside these, but I wanted to wait for the second one to come so I could do them both together. So let's have a quick look. Here's my little name card that Maisie made me, just in case I forget what I'm called. So yeah, basically the kit box gives you everything you need to make a specific set, usually necklace and earrings or bracelet and earrings, and I'm going to bring this down a bit, and the bead box is more like a kind of curated collection of beads and jewellery findings to build up your own stash and sort of inspire your creativity. I have both of them, and over the last 2 or 3 times what I've done is throw them all in together and do one big kind of mash-up project, which is probably what I'll do again this time. But shall we have a look? So I won't know which is which because they look identical from the outside. I won't know which is which until we get inside. Keep tissue. So this is the bead box, because I can tell that because there are no instructions. If it was a kit box there would be instructions with it. So let's have a look at what we've got. Interesting colour choice, because it's all shades of white and grey and silver, which is lovely. I always much prefer the silver findings actually. Oh, there's some lovely iridescent looking ones here. Now I'm going to need my little bowl that I always use. Let's have this little pair of scissors. So let's see what we've got. Bearing in mind this is only £5 including the postage and packing, so I'm always very impressed with what you get for that. So we've got these frosted glass beads, very pretty. It's nice to have some frosted ones, some shiny ones, some pearl ones, some crystals, just to have, you know, difference in texture is just makes everything so much more interesting. So here's some pearly grey ones. There we go. Nice quality. Okay, so it's a lovely faceted glass crystal drop pendant, whatever. Very pretty. And there's some grey wire, jewellery wire. I'm tending to find that the wire or elastic seem to be the easiest ways, the ways I prefer to make bracelets and things. So these are some little clear seed beads. Lovely, always useful. This is probably going to be a length of chain, I think. Yes, there we go. A nice length for a little pendant, or I might use it to make multi-stranded charm bracelets, which I really love to do. So that's that. So look at these beads. These are also glass. They look sort of metallic, but they're actually glass. They're that kind of almost a gunmetal grey, aren't they? Lovely. Really like this. What a lovely selection of colours and textures and finishes. Really like it. Really like it. I don't know what this is. Is it a large bead or... That's the only thing with this, you don't get a list of what everything is, so if you're a bit of a beginner like me, you don't always know what everything is. I think that's like just like a silver coloured focal bead. It's made of silver coloured metal. It looks kind of silver plated. I don't know. I'm assuming it's just a focal bead, not a kind of finding of some kind. I could check that with Debbie. She's very helpful. If you go on the Facebook page and message her, she's really quick to come back with answers to any questions. Lovely grey silky cord there with a pair of fold over crimps to go with it. The only thing I find with the cord is that none of the beads are ever, or not many of them are ever kind of big enough to thread onto the cord. But I could make little charms that thread onto it, so I might do that and make it part of a multi-stranded bracelet again. Might try that. We'll see. Some more frosted glass beads, a bit smaller and a different colour, so they're kind of a charcoal grey. I love this. This is going to be one of my favourite. Although I love colour usually, but I just think, yeah, this is really calling to me. I love it. And usually you find that the kit box kind of is along the same theme, so hopefully it will be, and then all going together. These look very pretty. Beautiful glass. I think they're called bicones. This shape. From some angles, they look like solid metal, and then when the angle changes, they look like coloured glass. Yeah, they're strange, aren't they? They do. They look metal one second and like coloured glass the next. Very nice, but all kind of bluey, grey, silvery colours. Here we've got a mixture of findings. So there's a pair of ear wires, a couple of head pins, a couple of jump rings, and a lobster clasp in a really nice silver finish. Now I think this is the last thing. There's always within the bead box, there's always like this kind of, it's like a mini kit really to make a pair of earrings. I don't usually make earrings because I don't tend to wear them. I might start making them up now that I'm going to start populating my Etsy shop again. Maybe I will make some earrings because they're quite fun to make. I just don't wear them. So these are very pretty. They've got that iridescent finish to them. So they're reflecting, they're sort of throwing out different colours depending on how the light catches them. So it's, I love these head pins that have the sort of ball end. I just think they're a really nice finish. So that's lovely. So I will either make that pair of earrings, or I'll just turn these into little charms that will end up on a charm bracelet, because that's just one of my favourite things to do. I've learnt so much from having these little kits. I've learnt what things are called, what they're for, what they do, how to use them. There's a junior bead kit as well, which is quite fun. I think I filmed that with Macy. You'll be able to find in the jewellery playlist if you're interested. So this will be the kit box. So it comes with the instructions to make. In this case, it looks like a necklace and earring set. We've got a list of everything that's in here. That piece of tissue again. Look how pretty these are. So these are the main beads for the set. So I'm going to have to. So we've got some small kind of silver plated beads there. It's like seed beads. Spacer beads, that's what they're called, spacer beads. And then we've got these pretty, so we've got different ones here. Let me just, these must be, yes, these are the 6 faceted blue glass beads. So I've just got a couple there in my hand. There we go. They're lovely, aren't they? I love the faceted glass beads, just always twinkle so beautifully and throw out all these different colours. I love that. And I do think they will fit with all of this as well. And then there are 12 glass drops. That must be these ones. So I've got 3 in my hand there. They look like tiny marbles, don't they? Ever so pretty with the blue and green in them. Really like those. Really, really like them. I like that the hole doesn't go through the centre. So yeah, so I suppose that's why they're called drops. Yeah, the hole is towards the top. There you go. Lovely. Really like them. And I like the set that is shown here, but I just I'm tempted to make it because it is really relaxing to just follow the instructions. I might think about that, but I just quite like playing with all the stuff and doing my own thing as well. So I don't know, maybe this time I will follow the instructions, make up the kit, and then do something different with this. And then there's this, we've got 3 jump rings in there and this beautiful leaf pendant, which is a little bit like these ones that came in the, you know, they certainly go together, don't they? Just a different shape. Yeah, lovely. And that's the focal point on the necklace. If I make up the kit, we've got a length of wire here, and the wire crimps. What these that look like tiny silver beads, those are the wire crimps. The other findings, we've got a couple of jump rings there, a pair of ear wires and a lobster clasp, and then we've got a length of chain. I am tempted to actually, because I haven't done it for a little while, the last few months, as I say, I've sort of done my own thing, so maybe as a little treat I'll just follow the instructions, because as I say, it's so relaxing to just follow the instructions. And I learnt so much from this, because they're very good, they're very clear, the photos are nice and large and show you exactly what you need to be doing and how it should be looking. Yeah, open up one of your junk rings using your pliers, blah blah blah, threading your beads. So yeah, I learned lots of ideas from doing this. Yeah, I mean, this idea of threading the beads onto the wire and then attaching that to the chain, I wouldn't have thought of doing that. Yeah, so I might do that a bit later, but for now, that is my kit box and bead box from Deborah Beads for January 2022. Can't make my mouse work. There we go. I hope you enjoyed that little peek. I will be back in a couple of days to show you what I make. I'm leaning towards making up the kit this time, and then doing my own thing with the bead box. And usually with the bead box I throw in a few bits on my stash as well. That's one of the nice things, it kind of gets you using all that stuff you got hoarded anyway. So I will see you again with that in a couple of days, and thanks very much for joining me today. Come back, changed my mind, decided I've got a little bit of time. I'm going to go ahead and make up the kit box now. So everything I need to make this little set is here in the box. As I say, I don't normally make the earrings, but I think I'm going to make up the whole set, and these will probably end up in my Etsy shop when I finally pull my finger out and get that sorted. Hopefully quite soon. I've got my little bead mat out. It's really handy because it just stops all the beads rolling away when you're working with them. Sometimes I use my bead tray, but for this I'm going to use the bead mat. Leave the wire in there for a minute. Got my chain. Put the box out the way. I see, so they just don't skitter off and roll everywhere. It's really handy. So all I'm going to need is my basic toolkit. So I've got some pliers here. I've got a pair of cutters. I've got some flat nose pliers. So these got a long flat edge, which hasn't got ridges so that it doesn't mark the wire and things. And then I've got 2 pairs of round nose pliers. They're handy to have one in each hand for opening jump rings and for making wire loops and things. So I think that's all I'm going to need today. And I'm just going to relax and enjoy following the instructions. So number 1, making my leaf pendant. Open up one of the jump rings. Now I suppose it's one of these jump rings. So open up one of the jump rings using your pliers. Now, I tend to use 2 pairs of pliers for this. Let's see if I can bring you down even closer. And hope that my camera will focus for you. So when you open up the jump ring, you do it this way, you open it up this way, rather than pull it apart. You sort of twist it open, because otherwise it might break. And you thread that through the hole in the leaf pendant. There we go. Close up the jump ring. That's that bit done. Step 2. See, I haven't even got to think, so this is why it's so relaxing. Threading your beads on your beading wire. So we need to get the wire out, and I need to make sure I don't lose my little crimps here. There's the crimps. So this beading mat is so good, they're not going to go rolling away and getting lost. So start by threading on your leaf pendant. Each side of your leaf pendant thread on 3 glass drops, then a silver bead. And then I want 3 of the glass drops. It's so easy with wire, you don't need a needle or anything, because the wire just, it's rigid enough that you can just pick up the beads with it. So 3 glass drops, then a silver bead. Oh look, I've lost those off the other end. So that's another piece of equipment I do usually have, is something to clip on the end. I'm going to use this little peg here so I don't do that again. I'm just going to clip that on the end so that if that happens I don't lose all my beads off the end. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? Leaf pendant. At least it wasn't hours of work, was it? It was seconds of work. 3 glass drops and silver bead. Oh, I missed the... Did I miss it or did it come off? I think it came off. Yeah, look, see, it keeps coming off. I obviously haven't got my jump ring done up tightly enough because the wire's escaping. So let's give that a bit more of a squeeze. Now add 3 faceted blue glass beads and lastly another silver bead. So I want 3 of these. Alright, that's them. Attaching your chain. Add a crimp to your beading wire after you've threaded on all of your beads. So these little crimps, hopefully this will focus, they're like a tiny metal bead. There we go. So the idea is that I'll thread my wire through there, then thread it through the last link in my piece of chain, and then back through the crimp in the opposite direction. So I've got the crimp on the wire, then I've gone through the chain, and now I'm going to go back in the opposite direction. There we go. Back through the crimp again, and then squash the crimp flat with my flat nose pliers to secure it. So I've got a neat little loop. Make that even neater. There we go. And now I'm just going to squash that crimp flat with my flat nose pliers. There we go. So now that is all secure. And now, it doesn't mention it, but I can now snick off this loose little tail of wire. Now I've got to do the same at the other end, and the other end is a little bit trickier because you have to make sure that you've got everything snug together, but not so snug that it's tight and it's not flexible. So just a little bit of give in it, but you don't want it gappy. Gappage is not good. So I've put the wire crimp on. I'm going to go through the last link on the other end of the chain, and now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go back through in the opposite direction. Okay, so I've gone through the crimp, and then I've gone through the last link in the chain, and now I'm going to go back through the crimp again in the opposite direction, and I need to make sure that everything is up snug. I don't want any gappage like here, but I don't want it so tight that the wire won't bend either. So what I tend to do is get the wire back through the crimp, it all up roughly, and then just do a bit of finagling. Wiggle it down, pull it one way, pull it the other way until I'm happy. So that's about right. So this is flexible enough to bend, but there's no obvious gappage. You can see that the crimp is snugged up neatly against the last bead there. So now I'm happy with that. I'm going to use my pointed pliers, my round nose pliers this time, because I can't get my flat nose ones in there, and I'm just going to squash that flat. There we go. And then when I'm happy with that, I can just snick off this little end. And that piece of wire is probably long enough to be worth keeping, because it's enough to do something like this with again, so I'm going to keep that aside. Almost done, but I think we're going to have to open this up now, because obviously you wouldn't be able to get that over your head. So, step 4, attaching your clasp. So when your chain is crimped to your beads, find the centre of the chain and cut it in half. Open a jump ring and attach it to one end of the cut chain, and then before closing the jump ring, also thread on your lobster clasp. On the other end, you just put the jump ring. So let's get this to about halfway. That's about there. Get my little snips and just snip that chain. Now I've got 2 ends. So I'm going to take a jump ring again. I can actually bend this without using the other pair of the pliers. Some of the jump rings are heavier ones, you do need 2 pairs of pliers. And then I'm just threading that through the last link in the chain, and then before I close it up, I'm going to add my lobster clasp. There we go. So just thread that through that little hole and close the jump ring up again. And then on the other end, I just need to put a jump ring. Open that up in the usual way, thread it through the last link in the chain, and close it up. Just make sure it's properly closed. That's it. There. That's my necklace finished. That's quite cute, isn't it? Yeah, very pretty. I like that. Yeah, very delicate. So now it's the earrings. So open up one of the larger 8mm jump rings. And thread on 3 glass drops. I've got 3 glass drops on my jump ring. And then close the jump ring securely. Okay, that's that. Now open the loop on the ear wire using your flat nose pliers. Do it by twisting your pliers to open the loop sideways. Don't open it by bending upwards. And then close it up. That's my little cute earring. Sweet. If I did still wear earrings, I would quite like that. 2 extra of the glass drops. So that's nice. That'll go in with my other kit along with the wire. So that's fine. Could have made it a little bit longer there really, but or I could make a little extra charm, or I could try and make a matching bracelet. Might think about that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same again. Open up my jump ring. Didn't use pliers at all then, just opened it with my fingers. Thread on the 3 beads. Just make sure that's really well closed up. Just going to squeeze it that way as well. Same with this one. I don't want any risk of it coming, of the little loop coming off. There we go. So that was pretty quick. I don't think I've been more than 20 minutes or so making that. There we go. That's my January kit box from Deborah Beads. I shall put this into a nice little organza bag and keep it for a present for someone, or possibly put it in my Etsy shop. As I say, when I eventually pull my finger out. Very much for watching that. I hope you enjoyed, and I will be back with the bead box in a couple of days, and throw in a few bits and bobs from my own stash and see what I can come up with there. So watch this space if you like that kind of thing, and I will see you again really soon. Bye.